What's going on, guys? Briar Rabbit here. This week, Bungie released the Inferno control mode upon us, and it is hectic and chaotic and an awful lot of fun. So the differences between Inferno and regular control are that the total score limit has been reduced, the points you get for doing random things around the map has been reduced, and they've totally eliminated radar, and this has made for a really fun and unique experience inside Destiny. And I gotta say, I'm having an absolute blast. Everything you liked about Control before is kind of flipped around now. It's much faster, it's much more chaotic, and I think it's a lot of fun. It's a very nice addition to the control mode that we already had. So today I wanted to show you guys what I've been up to inside Inferno and give you some tips that I found have really worked for me inside of the latest control type. So first of all, let's take a look at my class. I think this is really key to my success, or the way I like to play Inferno, and that is because there is no radar. I like to be mobile as hell, constantly exploring flank routes and trying to hit my enemies from the side, or even better, from behind. So what I've done is I set up a BladeDancer for the fastest I can, but also high recovery. So what you'll see here is I've got Path Forbidden training focused on both battle, recovery, and speed. Of course, I went with Fleet-Footed, increases maximum sprint speed and extends slide distance. That's very helpful with a shotgun. And Way of the Nomad, training focused on maximum battle recovery. The reason I went with this over Way of the Drifter is just so that I can hit a flank route. I can get behind, take out one or two guys, and then immediately retreat. While those guys are now chasing me from the direction I was just shooting at, I can then be flanking around again, and by the time I get back into position to start shooting again, I will have a full health bar. That's why I went with Way of the Nomad over Way of the Drifter, to get that extra recovery. And you can see how fast I am. The agility is really high, the recovery is very high, and this BladeDancer class has really helped me out. Another great thing about this game type is the fact that speed is absolutely essential. Flanked enemies, finding those flank routes, using those flank routes to your advantage is just an awful lot of fun. What you find is that you always kind of get a certain flow to a control mode. You know, people tend to flow down the same routes over and over, and if you can figure that out and figure out where the enemies are coming from and where they're going to be, then you can actually hit them from the side. You can go around them, hit them from the side, or even better, hit them from the back. So using those flank routes to your advantage takes a little bit of practice, but now that you're not on the radar, the enemy is going to have no idea you're there. So it's an awful lot of fun. Speed kills. It's very, very cool. But you definitely got to check your corner. So right off the bat, I realized, oh my God, there's a lot more campers, and they're camping a lot harder than they do in normal control. When you can easily see these guys on the radar, those guys have to move around a little bit more. But I've seen snipers kind of sit in a spot for, you know, minutes at a time, and shotgunners will just kind of sit behind a door waiting for somebody to turn around. So you have to be very careful to constantly be checking your corners. More so than in usual control modes, because in usual control modes, you already know if there's somebody in the next room you're going to, because you've already seen a blip on your radar. But now you have no idea if there's going to be somebody in there, so it's very important to constantly be checking your corners. You also want to maximize your advantages. So if you're going to be in a big map with some tight quarters, then you're really going to want to set up your character to take advantage of that. Maybe that's a pulse rifle or a scout rifle or something kind of long range like that for those big areas, and a shotgun for getting into those tight corridors. And you want to keep those equipped when you're in the situation. You don't have time to say, oh, there's somebody popping up on my radar, I'll switch to the appropriate weapon. You're really going to want to have those weapons equipped at the points in time that you're in that environment. It's very important in this mode because you have very little warning about oncoming engagements. But there is a little bit of warning. You'll find that you can hear some audio cues to kind of alert you of surrounding enemies. Now, in other games like Counter-Strike or Call of Duty, you're going to be able to hear footsteps, and you're really going to be able to sound horn people around you and get right down to exactly where they are based on the footsteps that you hear. But in this game, that's not really possible. The footsteps just aren't loud enough. But there are other audio cues that can alert you to enemy presence. Big one is jumping. Guardians make a lot of noise when they're jumping, and if you are kind of off lone wolfing it and you hear a jump, then you want to immediately look in that direction, because if it's not your teammate, it's going to be an enemy Guardian. You're going to want to get that guy's location as fast as possible and take him out. Also, if you hear gunshots, you're going to immediately want to look in the direction of those gunshots. Either A, it's an enemy shooting at you or a teammate and you're going to want to engage him, or B, it could be one of your teammates engaging an enemy, and at the very least, you're going to want to know the location of that enemy. Either if you decide to engage him or decide to flank him, you're at least going to want to know the location of that enemy. So it's very important to be listening for these audio cues. Doors also very important. The opening and closing of doors. If you know that you're not around your teammates and you hear a door open, you're going to want to investigate that door, because more than likely it was an enemy player, and you're at least going to want to know about his presence. Also, there are quite a few visual cues. Even though there's no radar, if you keep your eyes open, there's quite a few things going on that can help you kind of determine where the enemy team is. One of those is look for skulls indicating players' deaths. You know, if you see one of your teammates dies, well, guess what? There's an enemy teammate somewhere near there. If you see a few of them die, you may even want to find a way to flank that position, because you're probably not going to want to head in there straight in, because if you just saw 2 or 3 of your enemies die, probably you're not going to be in the best situation to take those guys on. Control points. When you see your control point getting taken, not only do you know that there's enemies there, but you can also kind of figure out, is there one enemy there? Are there 2 enemies there? Based on how fast that control point is being taken. So if it's getting taken really, really quick, then you know there's multiple enemies there, and you want to exercise a little bit more care in going into that area. Also, heavy ammo indicators. When you see those things disappear, somebody picked it up, so you got to know about that. But, you know, all in all, I really am enjoying Inferno. I hope these tips have helped you guys kind of jump in. I definitely hope to see you guys inside Inferno mode. If you got any more tips that you'd like to share for Inferno mode, leave them in the comments below, and I'll see you guys online. Thanks for watching. Hit that like button if you like this video. Hit subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time.